Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Shine Spotlight webinar series. My name is Josh Kiser. I am the Managing Director for Shine by Carrie Lewis. And today we're going to get a little bit of a workout. Now, we're not going to be collectively doing any burpees or anything crazy like that on this webinar. However, we are going to be diving into the importance of a healthy mind, body, and spirit, particularly as a performer. Our guest host, who I'm very excited to have today, is the founder and CEO of Stylish and Fit LLC. Her mission, simply this: promote optimal health, wellness, and esteem that will last a lifetime. Now, for this particular webinar, she will be specifically addressing how a healthy body enhances a performer's gift. So let's not waste any more time. Let's lace up those spiritual shoes and let's get to work. All right. So introducing our guest host for today, Tanjie Brewer. Take it away, Tanjie. It is
Hello there. Hi. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Josh. I love your energy. I love it. I love it. And I'm sure that you all have that energy too. So thank you guys for being on today. I believe that there is no distance, right, in energy. And so I'm glad that you're here, and get ready to really get some tips on how you can enhance your body and your gift too as well, because that is what God wants. And so if you are here today, I really believe that God commissioned you here at this time to be here at this time and place, because guess what? Your energy is required for your next level. God is about to launch you like never before into this world that is so needed, right? Into this dark world. We need light more than ever. But guess what? I want you to ask yourself, how big, how great, how intense do you want your light to shine? You know, being a part of Shine.us, it's more than just talking about, we're the light of the world. There is an importance and a significance of all of the lights that God has given us. And guess what that light is? It is your gift. It's your purpose that shines so bright and illuminates every atmosphere before you even walk into it. When they even hear your name, they should feel and sense the light, right? So congratulations for saying yes to being a part of Shine.us. We are so thrilled. And hey, I'm glad that I'm a part of this movement as well, because I really believe that we are in an amazing time that God is about to do some great things here on the earth. So what more, you all, than the entertainment industry? We know that entertainment does what? It really speaks to the core of who we are. And actually, it moves people to action. And the entertainment industry is vital, and it is needed. It's necessary. And guess what? You are too. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. You know, 1 Corinthians 9:25-27 says, every man that strives for the mastery is temperate in all things. But we must keep our body under what? Subjection. We must keep our body under subjection. And we are to be stewards of this body. But guess what? Being steward of this body, it also means that we are to be stewards of our wealth, of our gifts, and our talents too as well. So I love acronyms, you all. I came up with an acronym for the word gift, okay? So the word gift means giving, that's for G, intentional, that's the I, fuel is the F, and then the T, the T is tirelessly. So giving intentional fuel tirelessly. That is what your gift is about, you all. It never stops. We never stop giving when it comes to our gift. And you know what? I thought about how we've heard the gift will make room for us. So that means that our gift has already gone before us. But a lot of times, people are not ready to make room for the gift. Their body isn't ready. Their mind isn't ready. So if your gift is going before you, you got to ask yourself, are you ready to maintain the gift? We have a responsibility that God has given us to maintain the level of intensity of our gift. So with this gift, everyone, it comes a lot of energy, right? You're a performer. So many of you are singers, you're models, you're dancers, right? And in order to maintain that level, you've got to be able to be strong in your body. I once heard that many performers that are in Broadway, they have to sing on a bike, a stationary bike, going very, very fast at a certain amount of time to ensure that they can maintain stamina. And many people just simply cannot. And once they are on the stage too, having to dance, you've probably seen a lot of the major dancers in the world. We can name some of them. Jennifer Lopez, they dance for hours upon hours upon hours a day. And that takes fuel for the body, that takes the mental stamina, and that takes the physical stamina. So I'm going to help you, give you some practical information today that's going to help you enhance the power and the level of intensity of your gift, because guess what? It is required. So I want to start by asking you, are you incorporating the following things in your life? So as it pertains to fitness, ask yourself, where does fitness fall in my level of priorities? Is it something that's an afterthought? Is it something that you do every day? And when you think about fitness, a lot of people think, okay, you know what? I've done some running outside. There's so many areas to the word fitness, just like there's so many areas to the word gift, right? You have this gift and you have so many dimensions of your gift. And when it pertains to fitness, there's so many dimensions of fitness as well. So I'm going to give you some practical things for you to think about as it pertains to a healthy body so that you can enhance your gift. So the first thing with fitness is cardio, right? We've got to maintain that stamina, right? And I have my word, it's called gland stamina or man stamina. So when you start at the beginning of the day, are you on 10 and then by the end of the day, you are like tired and you don't have that same vibrance? A lot of people don't, right? So are you able to maintain that stamina? So that cardio is important, okay? So you want to make sure that you're able to run at least 30 minutes on a treadmill. Some people have knee issues, so if you have to do some speed walking or an elliptical or something, make sure that you're able to maintain that. And you need to be doing that, you all, at least, I'm saying at least 3 times a day. I would like to have, I know my clients do more cardio, but at least 3 times a day. So that's endurance. The next part of cardio is interval training. Are you able to take your body up and then down? A lot of times when it pertains to being on a stage, you've got to be able to take your body up really quickly, and then you've got to be able to go back to the host and give an interview. Have you ever seen some people like, oh, you don't want to be able to not give a breath out, right? So that is called interval training. So with interval training, you take your body up high, say you're on the treadmill sprinting for 2 minutes, and then you go down for about 30 seconds, right? And it is, so your level of fitness is your body's ability to come back down to a normal resting heart rate. And many people, it takes a little bit longer to do that than others. So we have what's called the VO2 max. It's your body's ability to utilize oxygen. And guess what? You can increase that VO2 max. So we've got with cardio, and then we've got interval training. The next part of fitness is your resistance training. And that is so vitally important because we lose muscle after we turn 25 years old. I realize that there are people on here that's 17 and 16 just starting in the industry. But guess what? It starts right now. Getting your body right. But of course, aesthetically, you want to make sure that your body is looking great because let's just face it, people look at the outer, right? Because it shows that if you are disciplined with your body, you're going to be disciplined with your gifts. So when you go into an agent and they see that you have taken care of your body, that shows them, wow, they're going to be disciplined in this area as well. So that's why our body speaks volumes even long before we say any word that comes out of our mouth, right? And so that strength that we have is very, very vital. So resistance training also prevents osteoporosis and makes sure that you don't have arthritis and all of these things. So resistance training, very, very, very important. And then there is stretching, you all. Stretching prevents injury. And I always say that flexibility is so important, but we've got to be flexible, right? When we are working with our gifts and talents, right? That's flexibility. We know that we have to be able to adjust. The same thing with our bodies. That flexibility with our body is important because stretching prevents injury. So what I find is we have a lot of people who are working out. They may be running, but they're not stretching. They may be doing their weights, but they're not running or stretching, right? So they're getting injured. So you don't want to be on the stage and you don't want to hurt your ankle. You don't want to pull something. So all of this, guys, I'm telling you, synergistically works together. It's going to help you enhance the power of your gift when you incorporate all of these things together, okay? The next one is balance. Are you able to have that core strength where you can balance your body? So I want you, going to give you a little tip. Can you brush your teeth standing on one leg? Okay? Do you have that balance in your body? Are you centered? So that is showing that you do have that body and mind connection with your body as well. So that is an area, you all, that's huge. So fitness, those are the components. And the number one, I would say an important component is that the brain, right, is meditation. When you're able to meditate on what the word says about your body, on what the word says about making sure that because we're the temple of the Holy Spirit, right? And we house the gift that God has given us. So we're responsible for that. So making sure that we are spiritually in tune so that God can give us the wisdom in order to carry out what we need to do. So that's the area of fitness. And so next, let's move into nutrition. This is an area that's very huge because many of you are young and you think, you know what, I can definitely just eat whatever I want to eat, right? It doesn't matter, But did you know that food is energy and food is life? So you have the ability to turn on the lights in your body, and everything that you eat sends a message to your body on what it needs to release. And that is the nutrients and the vital vitamins that you need. So many people think, okay, why do I eat anyway? It's to make sure that we are releasing all of the important vitamins and minerals that our body needs. And we don't get enough really during just eating regular vegetables a day. You really need to make sure you're doing supplementation too, but you want to make sure that you're doing at least 6 to 8 vegetables a day. So how does that look? I'm going to give you a huge tip. Okay, this is really important. So when you eat, okay, I want you to now go forward in the future and look at your plate. And I always say that your plate is in direct correlation with the mandate. Your mandate is the call upon your life that God has given you. And your plate should reflect that. So you have to be intentional. And I always say this so that you can be dimensional. So intentional eating is making sure that when you look at your plate, where is the balance of life versus food that is dead, right? God has come that he's given us life and life more abundantly. And so that plate should reflect that. So I have this rule. It's called the 80-20 rule. Okay? You guys may have heard of 80-20. I heard like in relationships, he may be 80% of what you want and 20% of what you don't. But we're talking about food and this particular point. So when you look at your plate, so 80% should be energy. That's food that is life. And the 20% is food that is, I would say, that's not alive. So food that is alive is called alkaline, right? Alkaline foods. And so our body has an environment, and we have a pH in our body. And our pH helps with our energy. So what helps to maintain that pH is, guess what? Food. That is what helps our body maintain that pH. And so once the body becomes very acidic, that is where when you're being very sluggish, that's where disease. So if you're, strict with disease or diabetes, guess what? You cannot go and perform your gift at the vibration that God has called you to perform it at, right? So how do you enhance that gift? How do you enhance the intensity of that gift? What you feed your body and your cells. So again, that 80-20 rule. So 80% that food that's alive, and you're probably going to have questions. So I'm sure Josh will let me know those soon. So if you guys have questions, just go ahead and let me know. So the 80-20. So 80% is alive and 20% is that food that is, like I said, it's not alive. So everything that's alive, here you go. It's all your thriving vegetables and all of your fruits. And food that is acidic, it's all of your grains, that's all of your meat, that's all of your dairy, that's all of your poultry, that's coffee and soda, all right? That is food that's acidic. So that should account for 20%. So when you look at your plate, do you have a lot of live food on the plate? So for example, I've seen some people for breakfast, they may have a piece of toast, some eggs, and some bacon. The toast is acidic, there's no energy. The bacon is acidic, there's no energy. The eggs are acidic too as well. So guess what? You just had a whole plate of food that did not provide you optimal energy to enhance your gift, right? So how can you change that plate around, right? So you're looking at that piece of toast. What can I add? Can I add some avocado? Can I add some spinach? Can I add some red onion to those eggs too? When you eat eggs, make sure that you're adding those bell peppers and onions, and make sure that you have life on that plate too as well. So you want to make sure that you've got that 80-20 rule, all right? So that's just a quick little tip to make sure. And going now a little deeper into the whole wellness portion is your eating schedule. So are you making sure that you're eating throughout the day the same time every day? So for example, if you wake up, let's say 6 a.m. in the morning, when do you eat breakfast? When are you eating that first mid-morning energizing meal? When are you eating your lunch? When are you eating that next mid-afternoon meal? And when are you eating your dinner? So in order to increase your metabolism, you want to make sure that you're having about 5 to 6 meals per day. Now, how you schedule those meals are important. So that's called your eating schedule. Every client that I have, I make sure that they're on an eating schedule and they're on a fitness schedule. Because guess what? You got to be intentional. Just like you get up, and if you're going to work, just like you get up, you can put on your shoes. Eating intentionally and working out and doing those things for your body is just as vital, it's just as important. So I would really encourage you all to write that eating schedule. If you don't have an eating schedule, if you kind of graze throughout the day and you kind of eat sporadically, you want to make sure you've got that schedule, because guess what? Our body is a wonderful machine that God has created. And so in order to get that optimal nutrition, if you're eating optimally throughout the day, you're going to achieve that. So let's go over that eating schedule again. So the first thing when you get up, you're going to have that, you're going to have your breakfast, right? After your breakfast, you're going to drink water, right? For those 2 hours in between your breakfast and then the first meal of the day, which is your mid-morning or energizing meal. Many people think that a snack is maybe a piece of string cheese or some pretzels. So an energizing snack, everyone, is actually a live food paired with a raw protein. That is a small energizing meal. When you eat that way, you're going to feed your body energy, and that's going to help to propel you and keep you for the rest of the day. So how does that look? So that live food should be something that is maybe an apple or some broccoli or some carrots, right? Nothing that's been altered in any way. Now that protein would be something like raw walnuts, raw almonds, that's not roasted or salted. Maybe some hummus and some carrots. So again, it's your raw protein combined with what? That live food, okay? So after you've had that first mid-morning meal, what are you gonna do? Drink water, right? So you wanna make sure that you are not eating and drinking at the same time. So once you've eaten your food, you're going to drink your water for those next 2 to 3 hours. You're not just eating occasionally or just grazing. You're making sure that you're being intentional with the schedule of your meals. Now it comes lunchtime. You're going to have your lunch. You're going to look and say, look at me, let me look at my plate. Do I have that balance of energy? Do I have alkaline and acidic foods balanced on my plate? So let's take, for example, many of you have been to, let's say, a place called Panera. I've seen people who have a soup and a sandwich, right? So that soup, lots of sodium, that would be, even though it's a vegetable soup, that would be acidic. You have that turkey sandwich, that is acidic. So guess what? The majority of that food, that their plate there's not been a lot of energy provided for you to maintain that level of intensity throughout the day. So instead of that soup with that sandwich, what would you get? A salad or something like that. So you want to make sure, again, that you're achieving that 80-20 balance. After that lunch, what are you doing? Yes, you got it. You're drinking your water, right? You're making sure that you're drinking that water so that you can get that hydration throughout the day. Then you have your next mid-afternoon meal. And again, that consists of what? your raw protein and your live food, right? That is what you're doing. And then after that, mid-afternoon meal, you're drinking your water, then you have your dinner, right? And you're making sure that you're not eating after 7 or 8 o'clock at night, depending upon when you go to bed, right? So you want to make sure, again, that you have that eating schedule. And now, still dealing with nutrition, we're going to talk about sleep and rest, because that's very important as well. Your body has to rest and digest. So you want to make sure that you're getting at least 8 hours of sleep a night. If you are not achieving that, 9 times out of 10, you're eating too much, you're not exercising enough, there is an underlying issue or problem. And so sleeping, how does that enhance your gift? You're going to be able to think sharper, and your body is going to be able to do the necessary cleansing that it needs. So upon waking up in the morning, what do? You drink your 2 glasses of water. And then many people, you should be releasing toxins from your body both ways in the morning, right? For a healthy body. I'm just telling you some of the tips. It's going to just make you really vivacious and continue to rock your purpose with vitality. Because guess what? That is what it's all about. So I'm giving you some practical information here, all in this short amount of time. But again, Josh will take any questions if you have them. So that is the other part of nutrition is your sleeping. The next part of nutrition is supplementation. So we simply don't get everything that we need in our meals alone. Because of how the soil is produced and how things are grown, you would have to eat a plethora of vegetables every single day. So again, you need 6 to 8 servings of vegetables a day. If you're not getting those, you want to make sure that you are. A serving size is about a fist, right? That's about a serving size of vegetables. And 3 to 5 servings of fruits a day. But many people, like I said, we're not getting those. So what are some important supplementations? One of the important supplementations are your fish oils, your omegas. A lot of people we're consuming a lot of omega-9s, and with omega-9s, that is a lot of processed foods, omega-6s. We want to make sure we're getting those omega-3s. So how do you achieve that? Your oils, your fish oil is very, very important. It helps the brain too as well. Another one is to make sure that you have gone to your doctor and you've asked him to check things like your iron, your potassium, all of those things. That's going to help you with your energy. A lot of people are lethargic because certain things are low in their body, but that is something that you have to ask your doctor to do when you go to your normal wellness visit. That is something I'm always big on, asking, how is my vitamin D? Many people are very low in vitamin D, especially with me being in Chicago. We're sometimes not in California. We're always out in the sun. So you want to make sure you're getting your vitamin D as well. And those are some important things. And your protein, making sure that you're getting that at every meal. So supplementation, you all, that's huge. That's huge. So that's another part of nutrition. So now that I've gone through some pretty basic things, as it pertains to fitness and as it pertains to your nutrition, I really want to talk about the importance, you all, of making sure that it becomes a part of your life. I want to tell you a quick story about my dear mother. She was 55 at the time when she told me that she had a little bit of high blood pressure. And I remember thinking, Mom, I'm going to help you do this the natural way. And that's what she told me, Tanjie, I want to do it the natural way. I was in Oklahoma at the time, and she was in South Carolina. And after she told me, I want to do it the natural way, I was so excited about helping her with that. It happened to be around Christmas time, December the 13th, she went to the doctor, and she had a pain in her chest. And she went, there was too long of a wait, and she said, I'll just go back. And 2 days later, she passed away in her sleep. So here's what I'll say about that. We are giving the opportunity. God calls us to a higher standard. Many of you are on this call for a purpose and for a reason, because guess what? He is putting this desire in you to take better care of yourself because of what he knows you're going to have to do in the future, and how important, how vital your body is going to be needed in order to do and carry out the plan and purpose for your life. I often say when people tell me, Tanjie, you're picky. Tanjie, you can just eat that. I become very snooty around food. I'm very snooty. And here's why. I'm like, it's not like I can't have that. I'm like, it can't have me, right? Because my energy is so important that what I eat, I know that it's going to fuel my gifts. And then I'm not just fueling this body, you all, that I'm fueling the purpose that God has put on my life. So this is what I encourage you to look at it. Just like your gift, guys, it has already gone before you, right? Remember we talked about that? And that gift is in itself something that's so huge and so vital. So you think about fuel, right? And you think about how fuel charges something. It charges the engine. Well, we have, our purpose is that engine, right? That keeps us going. I've heard that many people who retire and they don't have a sense of purpose, their body drastically goes down. And many people begin to even prepare, right, for leaving this world when they don't have a purpose. And one of the people who I love, he's a mentor of mine, Dr. Miles Monroe, he said, where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So when you don't and you aren't aware of the purpose of your body, and you're not aware of your own purpose, then people will abuse their bodies with substances, because in the entertainment world, you all, because they don't have the energy, many people go to drugs because they're just not there. Their bodies are broken down. They can't maintain things, so they run to drugs. So we are this light. So in order to intensify this light and to intensify this gift, we've got to be an example. And God said, he said in Revelation 22:2, he said, the leaves are for the healing of the nations. So guess what? At the fingertips, God has given us everything that we need to be whole and to be healthy. There are so many things that we can take and supplement with our bodies, and teas that we can drink to keep our body whole and healthy. You know, for me, I get up and my energy, you all, is always extremely high, like always. And I maintain that for the whole day. And people are like, well, Tanjie, how are you able to do that? Well, I learned a long time ago that what I put in my body, it really helps with my energy. And how I take care of myself and how I exercise helps that energy as well. So in order to enhance the beauty and of that gift, you guys, because there is something about energy and there's something about that passion that when people see you, they automatically get it and it's transferable, right? So energy will bounce from you and to that person, because your gift, guys, the responsibility of a performer is to shake somebody into action. And when you think about a Christian, our gifts are to do just that, right? People see us and should glorify the Father in heaven. They should want to become closer to God, right? Are you ever moved when you see someone do an incredible scene on TV with so much passion and so much fervor, or when you see someone be able to maintain energy on stage for a long amount of time? You think, wow, God, how amazing. I always think, how amazing are you, the gifts that you've given us. So it's required, our energy is required, our intensity. So I'll say this, I always say that everybody has a vibe, right? So when you walk in a room, think, what is your vibe, right? So your vibe, the V is for your vitality. That is your health. That is what you carry, this passion, this fervor. Your I is for intensity. That is your level of intensity when you walk, when you're in a room, right? How intense are you with your gifts? And that's also confidence, and all of that comes into play. Then the B is for buoyancy. How quick you're able to bounce back from a difficult situation. So some people, if they get a no, like when they've gone on an audition, a lot of times, guys, your food and how, if your body is not well, that affects your emotions. And that's huge. And so, people who are able to let things brush off, it's because their bodies are well, they're thinking clearly, their bodies, they understand that everything works together for good. And then the E is for your energy. Are you able to maintain a certain level of energy for your purpose from, like I said, from different agents? So some people may start out, the day auditioning for one agent, they're on, right? They're so full of energy. And then by the end of the day, you know, they're not so on point, right? So they can miss opportunities. So guys, when your body and when your health and your wellness is not at that level, you simply can miss opportunities. And I really understood that when I decided that how important it was for me to show up in every atmosphere that I go to, whether it's the grocery store. My level of intensity has always got to be there. You never know who you're going to meet. So I'm always on point. How you dress, looking people in the eye, what you do. We as performers, guys, we can't have off days. As performers and actors and models, we have got to take things up a notch. So if that means you getting up early, 5 a.m. in the morning and doing your workout, how serious are you about rocking your purpose with vitality? How serious are you about making sure that your gift goes to that next level that's apart from everybody else? Because I'm telling you, you can have 5 people in a room that can sing amazing. I'm telling you, it is your level, your effervescence, it's your level of energy. It's something that people can see. It's very attractive, everybody. Your energy and your health, that is one of the most important things. I remember my son, he's an actor too. He is 11 years old, and he went in for, or 10 years old, excuse me. He's gonna have a birthday soon, but he went in for an audition for a part that he didn't get. But the agent, when he walked in, he bounced open the doors and he walked in, and she was like, whoa. She was like, I love your energy, your confidence. And she said, I think I've got something for you. She's like, I'm going to call you back. So he did not make it for that one, but sure enough, she called him back and he got a part for something else. Why? Because his energy and all of that, it's electric, you all. And how do you do that? How do you enhance that? It definitely comes with taking care of your mind, taking care of your body, and making sure that you're fueling your purpose and being very, very intentional about it. So that is, do we have any questions at all? Josh?
We do, Tanjie, we do. We have a question that came in. Kenneth wanted to know, he asked if you're a vegetarian, because you've been talking a lot about vegetables, I guess.
Okay.
And he wanted you to give an example of your typical breakfast menu and maybe what your workout schedule like for a week as far as amount of time looks like.
Okay. Sounds great. So Kenneth, I am what many people call a vegan, but I don't like to put a label on myself. And I like to say, I learned early on, especially through studying a lot about nutrition, what food does for the body. And I learned how to make live food taste really good. So I promise you, I don't eat like a rabbit. I enjoy food. I always say that food should make your taste buds dance and your body too. So I am a vegan. I love it, and definitely gives me so much energy. But I have a son who's 10, and he is not a vegan, so he wants his meat. So I can assure you that you can make sure that you are incorporating all of those good vegetables with your meals too as well. Okay, so if you are interested in becoming a vegan, definitely those are some questions you can ask Josh, and maybe I can help you with that later. I am coming out with a vegan cookbook. It's actually it's actually done. It'll be out in about a month, so I'm really excited about that. Okay, and so you want to know my typical breakfast. All right, so I love to have let me just start with this. Okay, I'll start with oatmeal, and then I'll tell you something different. But oatmeal, let's say if I'm having oatmeal, I realize that oatmeal that's a good grain, right? So I'm going to add some live food and some protein to my oatmeal. So I'll slice I'll put some blueberries in there and some walnuts, and drizzle maybe a little honey on there. And then I love another protein. It's called quinoa. So I'll do quinoa. I'll do some sliced apples with my quinoa, and I'll do some nuts too as well. So when you eat your breakfast and your lunch, guys, you always want to make sure that you're getting the proper amount of protein. So I always like to have a good protein and some live food, which would be what? The apples, the blueberries, especially in the morning, important. And then I love avocado toast. So I'll have a piece of whole grain, gluten-free bread. I'll put some avocado on there, some spinach, some red onion, and to make sure that that's that 80-20, because we know the bread is what? Acidic. Then we've got the healthy fat, that's the avocado. Then we've got, and then I'll put some pumpkin seeds on top so I can have my protein. And it's good for guys too, Kenneth. Pumpkin seeds help with the prostrate for men. I'm saying it right. But anyway, pumpkin seeds are very, very good for men. And my workout schedule. Okay, so I love to incorporate my cardio. So I love to do some cardio about every day. You know, if I miss a day, I'll try to make sure that's my stretching. So it's good to have 2 recovery days, which are my stretching days. So taking a little bit longer to stretch the body. And I still like to do a little bit of cardio mixed in with that. Definitely like to do my weights. I may do a full body every other day where I'm working on a full body weight routine, or I may break them up where I'm doing upper body one day, lower body. So I kind of switch it up. But what I will tell you, Kenneth, is this. For my workout routine, it's a part of my life. And so if I don't do it in the morning, then I'm going to do it in the afternoon. I've missed the afternoon, I'm going to do it in the evening. So when something is a part of your life, you make sure that you get it in. What I find out, what I've seen in a lot of my clients is they will put one specific time on their workout. So they'll say, okay, I'm going to work out at this time. But if they miss it, they don't work out for the whole day. So you've got to allow for some adjustments and some flexibility in that. And you've got to make sure that you're prepared for a schedule that could throw a wrench in your day, especially with being that you guys are performers. You can have someone call at the drop of the hat. So just make sure that you are being intentional and that it's not an afterthought and that it's a part of your lifestyle.
Very good. That was so good. Listen, everything that you were describing, my family, we eat fairly healthy. I would,
Yes.
Say compared to probably most, or at least compared to what I grew up eating. My family now compared to the family that I grew up in, whole different diet and approach. You were describing the food that you eat, especially for breakfast, and it sounded amazing to me. But I also am an egg eater, and as I'm listening to you, I probably thought there's a lot of people out there that just love themselves some eggs and toast and are probably like, no, this is not good, especially when you mentioned eggs earlier. But what I do, it's very easy. I used to I was a, once over lightly or whatever egg guy. But I eat a lot of omelets now in my adulthood. I really just turn to adding vegetables in those omelets. Like you can,
Yes.
really easy. I will put spinach just about every time I make eggs. I will put spinach in my eggs, even if I'm going to have, like, my kids call them dippy eggs, right? Once over lightly, and just still throw it in there, and they're fine. It tastes great. Doesn't matter. It's just an easy way when you add vegetables to your eggs in the morning. It's an easy way to sneak some of those vegetables in, because I know a lot of people, they feel like, gosh, 8 servings of vegetables in a day. It seems crazy. And in smoothies, throw it in smoothies, because It's an easy way to hide it. Like it's not like an overpowering, a lot of people don't like salads, but if you put it in smoothies, you put it in eggs, there's a lot of things that you can add it to that it doesn't become like this crazy overbearing thing where you're eating 8 servings of vegetables a day. You know what I mean? So
yes, I totally agree with that. Especially with your smoothies, you can put some flax in there, spinach and kale. And then once you put like a frozen banana and a little cacao powder, I make a fabulous chocolate shake smoothie. It's like the best chocolate shake. And it's with avocado or frozen banana, cacao powder, and some sun butter. And it's yummy. It's so great.
Yes. And I loved how you have framed this whole talk today around purpose. Like, this is your health and your body. People have probably heard, my body's a temple and I need to take care of it and be a good steward and all that. But how you framed it and giving specific examples. I mean, when you were talking about being on set and things, my son, he's done some acting work and he's been on some sets for long days. And I've seen other kids and even, young adults that you wouldn't think, you know, if you're 44 like me and you were tired on set and at the end of the day, I could kind of understand it, right? But, you know, people that should have energy and they're all slumped over in the chair. And then when the director, director comes walking in and like calls your name, like it's your time for a set. And then you got to like kind of wake back up.
Right.
I mean, it matters. Your health absolutely matters. And when if you approach it, if you approach your eating and your sleeping and everything about what, you know, encompasses your health, if you approach it from a standpoint of this is about fulfilling my purpose, and if I'm going to fulfill my purpose to the best of my ability, then I have to pay attention to all these things, right? It all matters. And I think how you frame that is so very important, because people want to just go right into the gift. You're like, you know, my kids are really big into sports. My oldest, who acts, absolutely loves basketball, has, you know, LeBron James is his favorite player, and he you know, loves everything about it. And we talk about this all the time. And you know, Carrie, she talks about correlations between entertainment and sports all the time with athletes, as far as putting in work and putting in time and how that all matters. And it's the same thing when we talk about physical athletes. Like, yes, these guys, a lot of these professional athletes are freaks of nature. They just like, there's, you know, we're given a gift for sport, right? They're athletes, God-given talents for athletes, but they still go above and beyond. A lot of these guys that are the elite guys, they're taking care of themselves. I mean, LeBron James always, we used to follow him on, when he was on the Cavs, we used to follow him on social media, and he always talk about like what he's eating and what he's, you know, and even in the off season, like he didn't go crazy and then have to come back and spend all this, you know, all this work to negate what happened for the last 3 months in the off season. You know, he approached it from, hey, this is what my calling is. This is what I was, you know, the gifts that God gave me to do, and I'm going to steward that even in the off season. And it's, you know, it's not just shooting shots in the gym, it's also taking care of your body. And that's why I love how you just framed that, how everything that you said, you know, from framing it around your purpose, it cannot be overlooked. It really, really needs to be a focal point. It really does. Right. Yeah, absolutely. There was I want you to repeat one thing that I was over here taking notes. So you probably saw me looking down. I was taking notes. There was a phrase, a statement that somebody that one of your mentors said.
Oh, yes.
Where about purpose? What was that phrase?
So where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Yes, and that's from Pastor Miles Monroe, and just that's huge, because we, a lot of times, we don't realize that what we do and how we don't take care of ourselves, and letting mediocrity and all of these things, I mean, that is a point of, you know, abuse in a lot of ways. But for us, knowing our purpose, which is such a blessing, you all, those of you that know what you're called to do, you're really in a league by yourself already, because a lot of people don't. And that is why people are, you know, abusing things, themselves or even others, because people who don't know their purpose, then sometimes they lash out, or the purpose of a person, right? So purpose is huge, and it allows you to have responsibility and accountability and integrity of your gift.
So good, man. What you just said in those last 60 seconds was fantastic. We have another question. Somebody wanted to know, first of all, they said this has been so helpful. They just have a number, so I don't know who it is. Otherwise, I'd give them a shout out with their name. But they said this has been very helpful, and to look at it from a spiritual perspective. The question they have is, what are your thoughts on pre-made protein shakes? Like, are they healthy? Are they not healthy? And this is really good. I'm glad somebody asked this, because
me too.
There's a lot of things out there that are vying for your attention, that are healthy and that are speaking into, you know, the things that you talked about, but may not necessarily be healthy. So if you want to answer that and kind of speak into that.
Absolutely. So protein powders, you all, you have to be very, very careful with that. There's a website called the cleanlabelproject.com. And that particular website shows you the protein powders that have things like heavy metals, and arsenic. And one of the protein powders that I absolutely love called Vega, Vega. It was one of the ones I always used from Whole Foods. I was using it for years, and then I found out that it did have traces of heavy metals and those kind of things. So you want to make sure that you're getting an optimal protein, and you can look at the cleanlabelproject.com, but that's first and foremost. So someone said, what do I think about pre-made protein drinks? And so that means that, oh my goodness, it's probably in the bottle. I've seen some of those, guys. Those things have so much preservatives a lot of times. A lot of times you're going to have other additives that you don't want, a lot of like the muscle milks and all that stuff. I'm not a fan of that, simply because it's going to give you other things. Just kind of like, I'm going to give you an example, like yogurt. The purpose of yogurt is to put the healthy probiotics back into the body. But we know, like Dannon and Yoplait, what do they have? Sugar, you know, and all of those things in there. So it's defeating the purpose of what it was the intentional purpose of it. So for these protein drinks, you definitely need a recovery meal, and it's also good to have a recovery for after. So what I would suggest is doing your own protein drinks. Now, if you find a really good clean one out there, a really good clean protein, then you're going to add your things like your live foods with that, because we have to remember that the protein drinks are still, it's dead food, right? It's nothing, it's protein, but and it's been through a process, right? So it's still processed food, unless you're doing your own protein shakes, where you do your live food, you do a banana, you throw some almonds in there, you throw some walnuts, flaxseed, you know, and you make your own sort of protein shake. But if you're going to use the protein powders, you want to make sure that you're putting those good things in there to balance out that as well. Remember, we talked about the 80-20. So put your spinach in there, put your kale, put your frozen banana and all of that, so that you can have sort of a complete meal. But no, I'm not a big fan of those drinks. Now, if you're in a rush and there's a choice between that and a hamburger or something like that, you know, but I definitely feel like those should be done in moderation, and definitely not having a row of them in your refrigerator that you're doing all the time.
So very good. Thank you for answering that. So is it fair to just say, if you can, just in anything, whether it's a shake or just make it yourself, right? I mean, is that a pretty just general rule? Just make it yourself.
It definitely is the golden rule. If you can do those things to make yourself, like, you know, simple things like my son they love popsicles, right? I ordered some freeze pop things from, you know, you order those from Amazon, whatever. You make your own freeze pops. You know what you're putting in there. You make your own things. Just getting creative, you all. God has given us so much wisdom. And so if you can, it definitely is better to stay as whole, eat as whole as far as foods as you can. Kind of like with applesauce. It's better to eat applesauce or have an apple. Well, have an apple, right? You know what I mean? So, and can you make your own applesauce and blend it in the blender? Sure, you can do those things too as well. So just sort of taking a little bit more time to be creative and finding out those ways that you can put optimal fuel in your body.
Awesome. Let's see. Joy just put a question in here. I haven't had time to read it, so I'll just go ahead and read it live. Let's do it. So Joy, she says she is borderline diabetic and has neuro issues that cause migraines. She said she was vegan for a year, but her doctor discouraged her from it and pushed her to eat more meat and fish. Is there a way that she can get as much minerals, vitamins, and brain foods by eating vegan instead, I guess? So she says she has some pounds to lose, but she feels a little stuck. She's already she said she lost 78 pounds. Okay, congratulations. She said she's hit a plateau, but listen, you're on that plateau, celebrate for a minute, because 78 pounds is no joke. So good job, Joy. Yeah, she wants to she's a little bit, when you hit a plateau, she's kind of gone back to some bad habits, which that's natural, right? You stop seeing some progress, and some of that falls back into it. But I guess so for her, she said she felt amazing before she put buttermilk, fish, and meat back into her diet. She was raised in the South. We all know that with the South comes, you know, some very flavorful foods that are not necessarily good
Right.
for you. So yeah, I guess she's wanting to know, is there a way to kind of tilt the scale back towards the vegan eating, but still getting those minerals and vitamins and stuff that you would get from the meat and fish?
So I'm assuming that she's probably type 2. So there's things that, you know, you can change. And a lot of times, a lot of people who have gone vegan, I've seen it where they load up on breads, they load up on a lot of sugar things, especially same thing like with gluten-free. You think, oh, I'm gluten-free, so it's healthy. So a lot of people eat, because even being vegan, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get that balance. So you got to really study. In order to become a vegan, you should just do that, because you can not get, remember I mentioned protein. A lot of people are not getting protein. So like, for example, their breakfast, they're just eating the sugar and oatmeal and whatever. So guess what? There's no protein in that. The doctor's probably like, hey, you know, because our body still needs protein, especially when it comes to being diabetic and all of those things as well. It's huge. And then your the glycemic index, like the foods in which you're eating, you got to make sure that they're lower on the glycemic. So I would definitely say there's a way. I definitely don't want to, you know, go against what your doctor is saying at all. But I've helped a lot of people that, you know, they've reversed things, especially when it comes to diabetes. But you have to make sure that you got to look at the sugars, and you got to look at what you're eating and that balance. Is it definitely possible? Yes. Are there better things to do, like your legumes and your nuts and all of those things? Your fish is making sure that you're getting your lean cut meats are going to be important for you. So if your doctor did tell you that, make sure you're getting wild caught salmon, low on mercury. Make sure that you're getting your meats that they don't have a skin on them, that they're free of nitrates and hormones. And you're just going to have to go the extra mile to make sure you're getting clean meats. That's going to help you out. But still make sure that you're balancing those things out with the necessary foods too as well. But is it possible? Absolutely, you can. But it's not a lot of time to be able to help you with that. And I don't want to give you information that would go against what your doctor is saying.
That's good. Can you just take a moment? You mentioned about the glycemic index. I think there's a lot of, there might be some people on that don't understand that while it doesn't seem like they're necessarily eating sugary foods, but they're eating things that their body's going to turn into sugar. Like maybe just touch on that and explain that a little bit.
Okay. Well, first I'll say that all food is not created equally. So especially with fruits too, like blueberries are lower on the glycemic, right, than that of another fruit too as well. So you got to make sure that you're knowing that fruit isn't, you know, apples to apples either. And some people I see, they consume too much fruit, like in a smoothie. They may have a banana, blueberries, strawberries, mango, you know what I mean? And then they put orange juice. Just because you think it's healthy and it's not, guys, you're overloading on the fruit, right? So that's one thing. Then two, like you mentioned, Josh, what are some of the things like that can turn into sugar, like in the body, like a potato, you know, and your breads that you're eating, like you may do, like, oh, I'm doing avocado toast, I'm doing 2 pieces of toast, and that's turning into it, you know. And you're doing corn, you've got to be careful with your GMOs, make sure something what you're doing is non-GMO. So you have to really take a lot, like they have coconut tortillas, you know, made out of coconut flour, that's like better for you than say a regular tortilla or something like that. They have things that are higher in, like cereals, that like protein cereals that are power packed, that's lower in sugar. So I would say, so there's a difference, you guys, between refined sugars and sugars that are natural, as we know. So I would say even going through your cabinet, that's one of the first things I have my clients do. If you got to go through your cabinets and see if there's anything that's got refined sugar. So most of all General Mills cereals, Fruit Loops, all of that, refined sugars, get rid of it. So if it's just sugar, fructose, all sucralose, all that, you want to make sure that it has that organic cane, but it needs to, I always like to keep it below 6 grams or less, even in that. So even granola, people think, okay, well, I'm having granola, right? It's healthy. And for a lot of diabetics, granola full of sugar, because already you're having you're having starch from like the granola, then you're having added sugars and all that. So it's better to make your own. And so, yeah, so I hope that answers your question. There's a lot of different things, like I said, that are higher on the glycemic index, and like agave is different than something like sugar. You want to make sure that you're doing pure maple syrup instead of the Aunt Mama pancake syrup or whatever. You know what I mean? You want to get rid of all of that stuff, like all of those sugars and all of those things. Looking at here's the thing with being diabetic, you have to be very intentional about every single thing that you buy. Looking at that label is huge. It's huge. That is wisdom for you. Okay, so you got to make sure that you're not buying things that have, because sugars are in so many things that you don't even think of. Like most breads have sugars, right? And so you got to look at the sugar content, and you got to look at things that are higher in that protein content as well. That's going to help you a great deal. Like, for example, I'll say this real quick, like say almond butters or sun butter that I like. It should just say organic sunflower seeds or organic almonds. It should not have anything else, just like Jiffy peanut butter. It shouldn't have, a lot of that has sugar. Then it's going to have partially hydrogenated soybean oils. You got to get rid of that too. So those are the things you need to look at. Partially hydrogenated soybean oils, high fructose corn syrup, anything that has those things. Everybody look at it in your cabinets and get rid of it, because it's just too many things that you can buy as alternatives.
That's so good. It is. It's, it just takes a little bit of time, right? Like you said it just takes a little bit of research, a little bit of reading, a little bit of understanding, right? There's a reason why that information is in small print. It's the fine print, on the product. It's not don't pay attention to the bright red, really big lettering that says it's healthy for you. Just read the ingredients and read the nutritional value, because that's the important information. Don't trust the advertisement.
Yeah, because it's going to say whole grain on everything. Every sugary cereal there is going to say whole grain in full big letters. And
absolutely, you're right. And we try with our kids. It was hard, because all their friends are eating, like when you talked about cereal, I was laughing over here. We have ours is 8. We had the 8 gram of sugar rule was for us.
Oh, 8? Okay.
For our kids. It was like, all right, that'll be okay. And listen, yes, if you grew up eating something, and if you're going through your cabinet, like Tanjie just said, and you find yourself having to get rid of a lot of your favorite things, listen, it's going to be hard at first. Nothing's easy, right? But there's stuff out there that you will enjoy eating, that you'll find things that you like. You'll find things that taste great. Get out of your mind that everything that's healthy doesn't taste good.
Yes.
That is not true. That is the enemy speaking, whispering in your ear, saying that's not possible.
Well, Josh, it's like hot chocolate. Someone loved Swiss chocolate. I was going through their cabinet, and so the first ingredient in hot chocolate, that Swiss, it says sugar. And so I said, you can make your own. So get the natural cacao powder, CACAO. Then you put it with almond milk and honey and all. It's just like, oh my goodness, it tastes so great. And then what happened was, now you start tasting the preservatives. When you try to go back to the Swiss, you're like, and you want the natural. So what you're doing, everybody, you're simply awakening your taste buds to food that's good for you. But I promise you, there's so many great recipes out there, and you won't feel like you're being deprived.
Yes, that's great. That's great. You know what? I think that's probably a good. Oh, Joy just came back. We have one. Cookbooks. Since you are about to put one out there, Joy wants to know, other than yours,
right?
What are some good cookbooks that you would recommend? Do you have any?
Oh yeah, there's one that's called How to Not Die, because just not that's why we eat or anything like that, but it's just interesting cookbooks out there. Karen, hers is called Karen's Raw. Karen Canna Canvas, B-E-Z-E. She's great. I think for someone who wants sort of a more balanced approach, Dr. Josh Axe, A-X-E. He's great. He's got some great things out there too as well for something more balanced. That was one that's kind of more the how to not die, that's more extreme, like on the alkaline versus acidic. And then Dr. Josh Axe, he eats meat and he's really big on the whole balance portion of it. And he's helped so many people transform their bodies. And I love him, Dr. Josh Axe.
Awesome. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, Tanjie, this has been amazing. Thank you much. Your energy is fantastic, first of all. You can tell that you practice what you preach, and that's amazing. You look great. Your energy is through the roof. And listen, if we're going to be performers, if we're going to be on stage, if we're going to have long days on sets, if we're going to have, hour and a half, 2-hour shows, performances where we're dancing, then we have to have it too. So that starts with taking care of our bodies. So thank you so much for helping, just kind of walking us through that and what that looks like, and being very practical, which is always amazing. We like giving, our Shine family, our Shine community, practical tips, which you definitely did. And you made it seem, feasible really for everybody. So thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Josh. It's been great with you as well. You're awesome. I feel your energy too. You have great energy. And thank you all for joining us today.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you. That was today's Spotlight webinar series. And we'll see you next time. Tanjie, again, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.